I have with me to make sense of all of this, security consultant Darlington Umoru. Darlington, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Mike. Great seeing you again.
Great to see you, really.
Yes, anytime I see you, I feel so happy.
Oh, great. This is being a source of happiness is a good thing.
Yeah, because I know at the end of the day, you know what I mean. Something will happen.
And let good things happen. All right, now let's get into this issue. Nigerians have been reacting. But as the days go by, it seems Nigerians are beginning to understand the perspective of government somehow. Because I've spoken to some persons who were really against the stance of government, but they're beginning to see that maybe it was the right way to go somehow, as a way of, especially when it comes to making foreign companies see things from a different perspective when it comes to how to relate with domestic laws and regulations and things like that. What do you say?
Well, obviously, one very important thing you just touched in the course of talking to me now is the fact that many of us do not really understand that Twitter is a company. Many have, when the government, excuse me, when government took a decision on Twitter, before now, many of us, that subconsciousness was not really in most of us users that Twitter and the rest of them are companies run by people for profiteering purposes.
Publicly listed companies with profits at the back of their minds.
Yes, and nothing more. And nothing more. The difference is just that the spread is global as against what you have with local companies. But there's just no difference. And they have the modus operandi. They have a way of running their businesses. And then they expect people to key in the use of those businesses. While you make the best use of it to the best of your own interest, they are also making their own profit by having you using them. But even so, if they are not regulated, one big problem the world is facing at the moment is the issue of not being able to regulate the social media, particularly in most countries. When the Nigerian government came up without a suspension order, I was shocked that many of us were so much in a hurry, crying hola baloo. I thought what we needed to do was to support the government and see it from the point of view. For goodness sake, Mike, was that the only social media app that ran the same kind of services? That why were we crying? Why were we shouting? For once, can't you support your government in any decision, in this kind of decision?
But,
this is a foreign company.
Is that the point, Darlington, that there seem to be a lacuna or some level of gap between the understanding of the people and government on the other hand when they are not on the same page? So when government takes its action, people are not in tandem with government.
When you say people, definitely there's nowhere in the world where any policy of any government of any country would favor all its citizenry. It's definitely not possible. It's not.
But it's worse.
Provide money. Provide money now. Say, okay, share money amongst all the citizens of your country. I'm not talking about Nigeria now. Some will still come up to tell you that what was given to them was small. It should have been more. So how do you satisfy humans completely? You can't satisfy your entire population. What is important is that if you have to criticize, why not give why not do criticisms and provide solutions, suggestions that can help the situation? You don't do destructive criticism because you hate the government. Fine, the government of the day has not done well. They've not met the yearnings of the people. Agreed, the economy is suffering at the moment. But even so, sometimes let us take the government away from the policies. Let us separate them and look at them differently. And then did we really look at what the government said? The reasons they gave for suspending Twitter. And the worst of it or not, Mike, is that some Nigerians are actually bypassing the government regulation at the moment and then going to access Twitter through another app by using falsely another country. And if you look at the set of people who are doing all of this, these are people who are supposed to be law-abiding. Are you saying the government makes law, for instance, because it does not favor you? The government makes law now and the criminal is not satisfied. And then the criminal will want to still go against the law. Of course, the law will catch up with such persons. That is the same thing we are having now.
We have heard a lot of people, we've heard a lot of people talk about the issue of free speech. The concerns among Nigerians is that government has made some moves before to ban social media, to regulate social media, and maybe the communication didn't go down well with Nigerians understanding what that means. So right now, people feel that, okay, this is that agenda, this is the first step towards that agenda, so to say.
Interpretation.
Exactly. So
wrongly or rightly.
Yeah. So what do you make of government's ability to create orientation and understanding for people deliberately so that people help? Because in a situation like this, if the people stand together to say, okay, we really understand because government has spoken to us, maybe the approach would have been different.
Mike, I think I want to concede that to the people, really, because in terms of, I don't want to use the word carrying the people along, educating them on policies of the government has not really been done well. Where's the National Orientation Agency? We're supposed to have an agency that is supposed to be talking to the people on government policies. We're supposed to have the government's team that is supposed to be educating the people to say, no, this is why this is done, and this is the reason, and this is how it's supposed to benefit you. But all of that, I don't think this government has done well. Is it the government really, or the agencies? Well, if the agencies or the persons put in such places are not really achieving what they are meant to achieve. But again, Mike, I do not think at this point in time that even when you brought in the National Orientation Agency and all other bodies that are meant to disseminate government information to people, do their work, that people will really want to listen. The state of insecurity in the country at the moment has affected a lot of things. The state of hunger too has also affected a lot of persons' thinking. People have mindset and fixation, you know, such that there are certain things they just want to hear. Anything that is outside all of those expectations, apparently they don't want to give a listening ear to. You said in your opener that now it seems that people are beginning to key into the reasons why government took that decision against Twitter. Even Twitter, you remember Donald Trump's message to the federal government? Because he had at a point in time suffered some of this. For goodness sake, Nigeria is not the only country that has suspended Twitter. Twitter does not operate in certain countries. There are social media organizations that don't operate, that are not allowed to operate in certain countries. In Africa here, we have countries where Twitter is not even allowed to operate at all. Heavens have not fallen. For goodness sake, even Twitter has said they are open to discussions. Why? Initially, what we had was that, oh, Twitter has been suspended. Okay, this other one says they are going to do the same thing. The other one also pulled down, I don't want to mention names now, the other one also pulled down the statement from their application and all of that. But what happened? The most painful thing to me is that government has taken a stand on Twitter. It did not say it has completely banned Twitter usage in Nigeria. It is just for certain things to be corrected. Discussions. Now, Twitter has said they are open to such discussions. It is when the both parties now meet at the round table that they begin to negotiate. This is what we want. Government has said some of the things they already wanted to us here, which we are saying are not possible. But let Twitter say that. Twitter is a business venture. The government has a right, the government of the day has a right to say that we don't want Twitter in this country. If tomorrow another government comes in place, which is normal, government is continuing and says we want Twitter, so be it. But for now, I think the citizenry should completely back up the government, particularly when this is a business venture. Twitter is a company. It's a business company. Whether you like it or not, somebody is going home, cutting away the billions of dollars from you. And then if you look at falsehood in the social media today, it's part of what is creating a lot of trouble. There's one going on now at the moment, which is local, which is not even about Twitter, where somebody has said that they will declare jihad on Delta State. That is creating a lot of concern at the moment, security concerns. Why is all of that spreading? Falsehood from one part, but the person is not really been identified. But people are associating that with a tribe already because of the kind of things we've been having in the country. Social media, has social media really helped us? Yes, to some extent, because some persons are using it to run their businesses. But on the other hand, if you look at it to the left side, has it really helped us? A lot of falsehood are put out there and people begin to spread.
It must have come with its own baggage one way or the other, but a lot of people have started up their businesses courtesy of social media, especially for young people and young startups and all of that. Now, from research carried out by NOI polls about 150 million people have access to internet in Nigeria, and 40 million of that is on Twitter. That is a huge number. If you also flip the coin and you go to India, about 700 million people have access to that service in that country. Now, what is going on in Nigeria and going on in India, you recall too that in the UK, there were also concerns regarding Twitter operation and social media and all of that. Are these the beginning and signs of the fact that the original concern of inability to regulate social media, are this some of the indications that it's possible that some of these companies who are the OTT companies, over-the-top companies, can actually be brought to say, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that.
Oh yes, definitely, because as much as they operate, they still have representatives. They still have humans behind what they are doing. Precisely what the government of Nigeria want to do. Precisely what has been done in some other countries. If Nigeria is saying, well, fine, you've been operating in our space, and then you're making a lot of money from Nigerians, and then some Nigerians are actually misusing it, please come, let's sit down and talk, and then we'll see how you can regulate. Well, Twitter has a right, of course, because they are the owners, they also have a right to remove any a statement published by anybody or put out there if they see it as a threat, just as they did to what Mr. President published. But even so, with the individuals, with what is happening, the kind of things we are having, particularly in the certain region, permit me not to mention the names now. How do we have it? Some people are out there in Europe, but they are sending messages home. Some people are tweeting, and then when they tweet, some people who don't want to reason and look and pieces what has been tweeted, the ones I call the band wagoners, they just key in and follow. And then, of course, you know, such statements can tumble a country in minutes. In minutes, because these statements can be accessed, and once they are accessed, they are shared. And then when you look at the population of those who are accessing it, it becomes good for business when it's economic, but it becomes a threat when it's about insecurity. So we should look at it from these two sides. Any government of the day, let me tell you one thing, social media, as much as it has its advantages to the world today, it has created employment for many. It has made job easier. It has made a lot of things easier. At the same time, as it helped insecurity in some other levels. So if the government of the day says this is what we want, we're not banning Twitter, we're only suspending them, and Twitter has indicated that they want to, yes, negotiate and discuss, so be it, my brother.
We wait to see what the engagements would look like. Nigeria has said, or through the Ministry of Information, that one of the conditions is that they have to register as an entity or a company.
That's going to be very difficult. That's going to be very difficult.
That's one of the conditions given out.
I'm not sure they've given that to Twitter. It's just within us here, because they've not really sat.
Okay,
and that could also be a rumor. I don't want to stand by that.
It was a report credited to the ministry.
Of course, we've had several reports credited to several ministries and individuals.
All right, let's leave it here.
Not been true. We're talking about the social media, Mike.
All right, thank you very much.
Do you tweet?
Well, not after the ban.
Okay, not after the ban.
Very good. Let's leave it here now. Thank you very much. Darling Tomorrow, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mike. My pleasure.
It's okay.
Yeah.